What's up, cyber warriors, and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be building a complete Active Directory infrastructure for CyberGuard Academy, a cybersecurity training facility with some very interesting names we're going to be using. This is kind of pulled out from the Matrix movie, so just in case, I'm just giving you a spoiler ahead of the installation and configuration. So I have a little document here that I have created for this mini project, and I'm going to put the link in the video so that you can take a pause of the video, have a read, and then you can come back and then continue with the installation. I wouldn't want the video being too long, so me having to read all of this for you might just be making the video a bit longer. One thing I'll say is once you've read the project, you can try to create a network diagram just to help you have a picture of what it is that you're trying to do. So I'm just going to show you a brief one that I've created here using draw.io. So I have my internet, I have the router and the switch. Normally the switch is going to connect to all the various departments, but I just kept it this way because this is what I'm going to actually be configuring. I'm going to be configuring the server, and also I'm going to be installing a Windows 10 virtual machine that I'm going to be logging into with once I have created these users, and then also use that to test out the configurations for the shared drives that we'll be also configuring, and also our policies and our backups, so that the video is not too long. I'm just going to give it a little bit of pause here. I'm going to just allow you have a read of the project, then you can come back and then we'll have a deep dive on the installation. Also, for this project, we'll be needing, well, three things. We're going to be using VMware in this case. If you're more comfortable with a virtual box, you're more than welcome to do that. And I believe there are other virtualization environment out there you can also leverage on, but in this case, for the purpose of this video, we'll be using a VMware virtualization environment. And also you'll be needing the ISO file for the Windows Server 2022, and also that for the Windows 10 workstation as well. I'll try to put a link for where you can get this currently. At the time of making this video, the current link, I will put it in the description of the video so that you can also download yours and follow along as we do this project. So that the video is not extremely long, I'm going to be creating a three-part series. The first one, which is this one that we're currently on, it's going to have the description of the project, which I've just done, and also where you can get the links for the installation file for the ISO files, and also for this project if you want to have a read. And for the later part of the video, we're going to be configuring the Active Directory and configuring a few bits of the Active Directory. The second video, that's going to be more focused around the users, groups, folders, and permissions. So we're going to be breaking down into organization units where we'll be creating the various departments. Also going to be creating users in these various departments and also implementing security groups for these departments as well. We'll also be focusing in the second video the shared folder structure and the permissions. We're going to be setting up permissions for the shared folders. Second video will be looking at the network printer configuration, installing and configuring these network printers according to the documentation. And for the third video, is going to be more focused around testing, troubleshooting, and verification of this exercise that we've just done, just to see if it all works the way it's supposed to. We're going to be looking at some scenario-based troubleshooting questions and how we can go about resolving that as well. So that's all going to be in the third video. So if you've not been to my channel before, if this is your first time, please do smash the like button to support this. You can also subscribe if you want to see more contents around this. And you can hit the bell notification so you can be alerted when I also drop more videos in the future. Now, have a read of the document that is going to be in the description, and then by the time you're back, we'll be looking into configuring the Active Directory. All right, I hope you were able to have a read of the document and probably grab a cup of coffee because configuring a domain controller requires actual concentration. And unlike what you see in the movies where they just tap their hands on the keyboard and voila, everything's all set up. So we have our virtual environment. In this case, this is a VMware Workstation. At the time of making this video, we'll be using the Workstation Pro 17. I'll put the link in the description as well. So here we'll be trying to set up our Windows Server 2022, and to get started, we're just going to go ahead and click create a new virtual machine. And we're just going to use the wizard. So we're just going to go typical next. Here you can see I have my virtual machine ISO file already here. If it's not there for you, just go ahead and click on the browse, go to your downloads folder. If you've downloaded it, it will most likely be in your downloads folder unless you specified another folder for it to keep your downloads. But in my case, it's in the download folder, and you can see the virtual machine, or well, VMware already identifies my downloaded ISO as a Windows Server 2022. So I just go ahead and just click next here. I don't have a product key, so I'm just going to skip that. And here we have what version are we trying to install, and we'll be trying to install the standard, the like. So personalized Windows, this is optional. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Which will next. You did not enter Windows product key. Windows will install without one. Yes, say yes. What do we want to call our virtual machine's name? And at this point, we want to call it, let me just put it right here. So we're going to name it Cyber. Better still, let's just go with what we have in our documentation. So we'll be calling it Secure Core 1. And what location do you want to have this installed? So I have a location for all my virtual machines. So that's where I'll be installing this. Go next. How much storage do we want to give to this? I believe 60 gig should be more than adequate. Less, because this is just a lab environment, we don't need to store the entire internet into it. Though some users, you never know what they try to save in their home drives, but in this case, we want to just give it a 60 gig of storage, and I'm just going to allow it to take it as a single file. Next. It says it wants to give it a memory of 2 gig. I'm just going to change that to 4 gigabyte. Let me just use the slider. So that's for our RAM. And then we want to look at the network configuration here. In this case, we're going to be using bridged. And let's have a look. So we'll just go ahead and close this. And then we'll just go ahead and finish it. So, and let's just watch our virtual machine start to install itself. So we're just going to wait and see if it pops any errors. Then we'll go ahead and just troubleshoot this. So we have this error. If you're installing yours and you do come across this error, this is not a problem. All we just need to do is we need to close our virtual machine. So I'm just going to go ahead here and just power it off. And then we're just going to go ahead and look into the configuration of our virtual machine. So we want to open the secure, then edit settings. Then you want to go to the floppy and take that off. Once you take that off, that's okay. We'll go ahead and okay it. Then let's power our virtual machine again. All right, so we don't have the error anymore. So that's one troubleshooting thing you can look into when you're installing your virtual machine for the Windows 2022 server. So just go ahead, depending on your keyboard layout. In my case, I have a United Kingdom keyboard layout. So I'm just going to change that and just hit next. I'm just going to go ahead and install. And we're going to be using the standard desktop experience next. You want to read the documentation next. Here you want to click custom install and you want to use it on this drive next. And there you go, Active Directory installing. So I'm just going to try to speed up the video from this end, and once it's done installing, slow it down back to the normal pace and we'll continue the configuration from there. And yes, I did download this Windows Server from the Microsoft page legally, you know, because even we in the cybersecurity industry, we do things by the book. I wouldn't advise you get a cracked or a pirated copy of this. Luckily, you get some evaluation softwares from Microsoft that you can play around with just to get yourself acquainted with their applications or their software. So, it's always good to just grab one from there, use it to run your labs, run your setups, and yeah, I just keep quiet and just speed up the video from here. And let's see, once it's installed, we'll continue the configurations from there. So as you can see, we're almost done. I believe we're halfway through. This is a perfect time to mention that patience is a virtue in IT, unlike what we see in the movies where everything happens instantly. Real server installation takes actual time. So here we have to create a password for the administrator's account. So it's always good to have something very strong. But in my case, because it's a test environment, just keep it simple and straightforward. And there we go. We have our Windows Server all installed and ready for our first configuration. So you can see it automatically boots you up into the startup screen, and you have here saying Control Alt Delete to unlock. So you can use that just by clicking up here. You can see say Control Alt Delete this virtual machine. And now we have our logon screen. And there we go, logging in for the first time. So after the first boot, you can see the server manager opens automatically. It's like Windows way of saying, hey, remember, you're running a server now. Don't think you're just on a Windows machine. Thanks, Microsoft. I totally forgot after spending 20 minutes installing it. So yeah, let's go ahead and change the name of the machine to Secure One. So we're just gonna go do that by doing this. click on the File Explorer, come here, right click on this PC, go to Properties, and you can see the name, the device name that Mac Windows has given the server. So we're just going to go ahead and say rename this PC, and we're going to name it to Secure Core 1. Next. This is going to want to restart the PC, but we're not just going to do that now because we still have other things to do. So we're just going to say restart later. Now we want to configure our network, and we're going to be doing this by coming here because this is our domain and we want it to have a static IP. So we're just going to come here and then right click, go to Open Network and Internet. Let me change adapter options. Double click on this, go to Properties, and this is our IPv4, and we're going to change this to static. So the IP address that we want to be using, it's going to be 10.34.16 and 10. And for our subnet mask, it's going to be 255.255.255.0. And our default gateway will be 10.34.16.1. All of this is in our diagram. So just in case you want to go back to it, you can have a look. And what else do we want to do? We can leave the DNS for now, or better still, we would change that to point to ourselves because we're about to become the DNS server. So let's just point it back to ourselves. So it'll be 10.34.16.10. Okay. And now that we've set this up, we'll just go ahead and just close it, and let's just go ahead and reboot our Active Directory. I'm just going to shut it down because I want to still check the network configuration of our virtual environment. So we're just going to go ahead and just put this. So we'll just wait for the Windows server to boot up, and then we should start configuring. So just go ahead and press the Control Alt Delete. VMware has a dedicated button at the top, and now I'm just going to put in my password, and here we go. Our server is loading up for us now. So we just want to double check that there is network. Don't bother about the unidentified network, but as long as you see it showing you that it is connected to the internet, then that's fine. So we'll just go ahead and just check the IP address that we've already put in there, our static IP address. We have that pointing to ourselves, or we can as well just put it as 127.0.0.1. That's the host IP. For now, we'll change that much later in the exercise, and the alternate DNS would point that to ourselves again. Both of them pointing to the same server, and we'll just close that up. We can see that it's sending and receiving packets. That's okay. All right. So next thing we want to do now is to begin the configuration. All right. So it's always best when you set up a new operating system. Always good to always check for updates because you could have some sort of vulnerability that has been addressed, since the operating system was created. So it's always best to run a Windows update. And in this case, running it for the first time on here could probably take a long time. It could take longer than normal. So I'm just gonna speed up the video and just increase it a little bit so that we don't waste too much time running the update. All right, so now while that is running in the background, we can just go ahead and continue with our configurations. Yeah, so you just click on add roles, and now we just go next, role based. That's what we want to do. We go next, and here we want to make sure we've selected our server, which is the secure call one. Go next. And here we want to make sure that we are selecting the Active Directory domain services, and we want to include the management tool, add feature. Just make sure that box is checked, and then we go next. We go next, and we go next. So now we're just going to click install, and we just wait for that to install. So this might take a while as well, but I'm trying as much as possible to speed up the video so it doesn't take too long. All right, so that's all completed. You can see it up there, and we just go close. Okay, so we just go ahead. You can see that flag up there. It just tells you that, hey, you've installed an Active Directory domain service, and you can see it's telling us to promote this server to a domain controller, and then we'll just go ahead and click on that. So basically, we want to add a new forest because we're starting afresh with a brand new domain infrastructure. So the domain name, we just check it again and just to be sure it's called cyberguard.local. So uh, yep, I chose .local because it's perfect for internal networks. It won't conflict with any internet domain. So yeah, just go ahead and double check that. All right. So here, this directory services restore mode. Yeah, it's good for disaster recovery scenarios because it's like having a fire extinguisher, but when your Active Directory needs restoration, yeah, Active Directories disasters are real. Always have a recovery plan. So you want to set up a password there, and you want to keep that in mind. So and you just go ahead and click next. And now you can see this warning here, the DNS delegation warning. We can ignore this for our lab environment. It's just Windows being cautious about DNS configuration, which is actually good practice in production environments. So yeah, we just go ahead and click next. And then it's going to have some prerequisite checks. If all green, everything looks good. Uh, so in a few minutes, this server will become the master of the cyberguard.local domain. So we just go next. It's gonna do the prerequisite checks after this. Just double checking that everything is the way it should be. Yep, we just go next now. And now it's just gonna do some checks, like I said, and if all green, then that's good. Yeah, you can see it. All the prerequisite checks passed successfully. So we can go ahead and click install. Okay, it's good. As long as we don't have any red, then that's fine. It's all normal checks, all normal notifications. And now our domain server is gonna reboot itself. So this is a way of Windows saying, I need a moment to process what has just happened. So we'll just wait for it to come back. All right, now we're back, and then you can see we've got CyberGuard/administrator. So we're just going to go ahead and just sign in with our credentials. And now you can see that we've got the local server. So we're just going to quickly jump into the IP address zones and just change it again. This time around, the preferred DNS server would be pointing to our domain server, and then the alternate would be our gateway. We'll just go ahead and just click OK, OK, and yep, we can see our Windows update did get some updates, and it says it needs to be restarted. So we just go ahead and do a restart again, and then when we're back, we would continue with the configuration. Okay, so we're back again, and now we'll just go ahead and just type in our password. And now let's have a look. So we've got our servers still coming up. The next thing we want to do now is to check that we have our cyberguard.local appearing where it's supposed to. And we'll just run a quick look and just see what we have. Everything seems to be in order. Then we can go ahead and just close that. Then have a look at our DNS, see what we've got. We have our cyber secure core 1. Everything looks fine. We want to go into the DNS itself, the DNS manager, have a look, see our forward lookup zone, and see that it's got CyberGuard. Then we want to check the A records, and yep, we've got it. It's pointing to our IP address, our static IP address that we gave our Active Directory from the start. So it's on to the next feature, which is we're going to try to install the Active Directory, sorry, the DHCP server. This is what is going to be issuing out IP addresses to the computers that connect to the domain. So we need to set up the DHCP server, and it's just as simple as the previous one, just a couple of next, and then we just go ahead and click on install, and we're just going to wait for that to install. So you can see that installing the DHCP was much faster than when we installed the domain server. And the usefulness of the DHCP is just so that everybody trying to connect to the domain server isn't having to manually enter in an IP address for themselves. So we'll just go ahead and just do the DHCP scope. So we're going to be adding the scope according to the documentation. and we just need to give it the name. Put in the cyberguard.local main scope, just to make sure that it's always good to give it a well-labeled name, like a name that even if it's supposed to be looked at by a third party, they'll be able to understand what it is that you're trying to say or what it belongs to. And then you can see we have to check our diagram just to make sure that we are going according to what has been issued in terms of the documentation and the requirements. So yeah, we want 100 um, IPs reserved. We'll just put that there and put the subnet mask. Then we go next. Here we want to put an exception. Sometimes it's always good to have maybe like the first 50, or depending on the kind of practice in terms of your configuration that you undertake. You want to keep some IPs reserved, keep it exclusive just in case for troubleshooting purposes. You always know that this range of IP addresses are not in use, like the DHCP will not issue this out to any device. So we'll just probably make it like we just get a same like 10. We just do like 10 IP addresses. Just add that. It's not in the subnet. Oh yeah, it needs to be in the within the scope. So we'll just double check that and then change that to be within the scope. I believe our scope was from 155 to 254. So we just want to take 155 to 164 and next. Release duration. So this will just leave as it is. Or better still, maybe we just take it down. Since it's supposed to be 1 day, then we just change that to 8. At the end of the day, if you're working, most work areas are usually 7 to 8 hours a day. So yep, and here you want to add the router, the default gateway. I believe our default gateway is 10.34.16.1. So we just type that in there, and we just go ahead and add it, and we'll go next. And here it already has our domain server IP and our default gateway IP. We just go next. Yeah, it says the Win server. We just leave as it is and go next. Do you want to activate it? Yes, and yes, and that's it. That's our DHCP configured right there. And you can see in the background, our Active Directory domain server is running fine, all green, no problem, no issues. And our DHCP also all green in the background, no problems, no issues. And from the documentation, you'd see where it says from the project team, they want the director's computer to have a specific IP address. And then by doing this, we need to just work with the MAC address of the computer. And you can see it here, the academic director's computer. They want a static IP and they want it assigned to that MAC address. So we're just going to type in the director's computer, and then we want to give a static IP. So it's gonna be we could just pick at random because I don't think they gave us anyone in particular. And then we want to, I think we'll just come up with something. Let's just try to type in the MAC address. All right, let's type the MAC address, and then we just give it an IP. And you can see we're getting an error. It's saying the MAC address that we've typed in here, it does not seem to understand it, that there's an error, that it's not valid. And that's because we typed in the MAC address just the way we saw it in the documentation. But I, for now, we're just going to change the columns to dashes, and there it is, all set up. You can see it. That's the MAC address. That's the director's computer, and that's the IP address we have assigned to it. So whenever the PC goes off, comes on, it will always have that IP address, unlike other devices that get assigned IP addresses by the DHCP, and that's the work of the DHCP. All right, then. Thank you. And here we have it. Cyber Warriors, Secure Core 1 is alive, promoted to domain controller, and ready to serve our Cyber Card Academy. We've got the Active Directory running, DNS is resolving, and the DHCP ready to assign IP addresses automatically to any device connected to the domain server. So like I said in the second part of the video, we're going to be populating this domain with our Cybersecurity Academy staff. We'll create user accounts for everyone from administrators to students. We're going to set up organizational units and configure all those domain department specific resources, such as the home drives, the shared drives, the printers. So basically, we will be creating all of this in the second uh, part of this video. If this has helped you out, please smash the like button like Neo dodging bullets in bullet time. Subscribe for part two and drop a comment below. What would you name your domain controller? I'm curious if anyone can beat the Secure Core 1 for coolness factor. Until next time, remember proper planning prevents poor performance, and DNS is the foundation of everything. Catch you in part two. Thank you.